Hello and howdy everybody. Last night I had the great pleasure of seeing one of my favorite films of all time on the big screen once again. Clue. Yes, Clue. The movie based on the Parker Brothers board game of the same name. As far as I know, it's the first movie to ever be based off a board game, and now that's kind of like commonplace, or at least a movie based off of an inanimate object, where your imagination is the competition. Again, this is a totally biased review. I've been watching Clue all of my life. It's one of the first theatrical experiences I can remember. I was going to say, I can't really tell you how many times I've seen this movie, but I know I've seen it in the theater 4 times now. When I was a kid, when it was originally out, which I can't tell you the date, maybe I should have looked it up, but I was young. I was probably around the ages of 8 to 10, and if you remember correctly, they released Clue 3 different times. It was great marketing. They wanted you to see their movie 3 times. They released the film with 3 different endings. I hope I'm not spoiling it, but the first time I saw it, Miss Scarlet did it. The second release, now I can't remember how far apart these releases were, whether it was like 2 weeks or 1 week. I can't remember, but I know I saw all of them. The second one, they released Mrs. Peacock did it. And then they released the final and the version that we all know and love, and I saw last night, where they show the Mrs. Scarlet did it ending, the Mrs. Peacock did it ending, and the ending where everyone did it, with the exception, well, no, even Mr. Green did it. I love this movie. It's about a dinner party where a blackmailer has assembled all of his blackmailees to a dinner, and then has an idea that they could, kill their problem, basically, and they're all right there. They all are in the same boat, and they can kill Mr. Body, their blackmailer, and, their troubles will go away. But more and more people start coming to the house, and turns out that, there's much more sin to go around. The cast is, like, iconic for 80s. I'm sorry that I can't tell you every single name. I should be able to, because every single performance is fantastic. And I should remember everyone's name. But the ones I do, of course, Madeline Kahn. And Madeline Kahn still stole the show last night. I think, Madeline Kahn is a fantastic actress. She worked forever. She's hilarious. She's done so many great works. I think that Clue stands right up there with her best, probably Young Frankenstein being her best. But Clue, it just goes right along with anything else she's done. Christopher Lloyd, great. Martin Mull, great. Tim Curry, great. Let's see, who else is in there? I can't remember her name. If Madeline Kahn didn't steal the show last night, it was Mrs. Peacock. Mrs. Peacock really, I can't think of her name, but she got probably the most crowd reaction last night out of anyone. Michael McKean is in there. He's Mr. Green. I'm trying to remember who else. I can't remember the ladies' names. Anyway, all the performances. I mean, we've got like an iconic 80s cast in here. It's it really is just a fantastic 80s comedy. It was written and directed by one man. I think it was Jonathan Lynn something. I'm not really recalling it right now, but he produced and he co-wrote it and he directed it. So we've got this guy who is impassioned to make a film about Clue, the board game. So he gets one of the best comedy writers in the business to help him do it, and that's John Landis. Certainly he's responsible for a great deal of the laughter here. John Landis, one of the great, comedy writers and directors. Let's see, John Landis, did he do the original Vacation, or was that John Hughes? I can't remember. But Vacation, Animal House, basically National Lampoons. John Landis was National Lampoons, I'd like to think. So you've got this, hilarity. I'm going to give this film a 10, again, because it's a part of my life. I've watched it countless times. I don't know how many times I watched it. I used to watch it obsessively as a youth. I still quote it to this day. It's actually probably my most quoted movie. There's so much wordplay in it. That's what really caught me last night, and that's what I'm wanting to say is I try and look at this unbiasedly, as if I'm a 33-year-old man, and I've never seen the film Clue. And I was trying to treat last night's viewing as if I had never seen it before. And even doing that, I would still have to, give it a 7. There's no way I could give it below a 7. Just the acting is too good. And the writing is so smart and funny. There's constant wordplay. There's constant puns, wordplay, lines leading into non sequiturs. Just even more than I've noticed before. Seeing it last night. So it's got a really smart screenplay, and it's got this manic energy. It goes by in no time. It is a short film. I think it's probably about 80 minutes. And it does zoom right by. Last night, I have to mention the theatrical experience. Last night, this was a midnight movie. It was a gorgeous 35mm print. I was so happy that it wasn't digital. But it was a gorgeous 35mm print that's really stood up against the test of time. It looked, with the exception of a few spots, looked pristine. The theater, I saw this at the New Art in Santa Monica, or I guess Westwood, they'd like to say, or West Hollywood. I would call the New Art the premier art house in the country. I can't think of anything that offers more original programming, as well as new release independent films. I love the theater. I love going there. I know that when I go to the New Art, I'm going to have a cinematic, artistic experience. They've never let me down. They've never let me down. And the crowd reaction was fantastic. It was nearly sold out. I got there 20 minutes ahead of schedule. Ahead of the showtime. The showtime was at midnight. I got there at 11:40, and I still had to sit all the way down front. I mean, it was damn near sold out, which I didn't mind. I had a great seat. But the audience was going nuts. Again, this was more of a fan event than anything. Not only were people saying the famous lines along with the actors, but they were saying entire conversations. Entire monologues. They would say along with the film. At first, I found this a little disheartening because I'm so elitist when it comes to film and film going that I didn't really care for that. I wanted people to settle down a bit. I was getting grumpy, but then I got over it and then got into it and wasn't bothered. But the people were going nuts. Sometimes I thought that killed the laughter for me. was, hearing the audience say these lines instead of, the comic timing of these professional actors we have on the screen. So whatever, I got over it. Again, I knew what I was getting into, pretty much. I laughed a lot last night. It's a hilarious film. When I watch it, it's like these... Seriously, I haven't watched the film in a long time. It's probably been over, I would say, easily 5 years since I've watched Clue. I mean, it's been a long time, so it was somewhat refreshing to see and new, because I hadn't watched it in a while. But I tell you what, when I was watching it, it brought up, like, deep, like, buried emotions and feelings. Again, I saw this 3 times in the theater originally, in its original release, and I believe I saw all 3 of them. Really, I think I saw all 3 of them with my grandma in Columbia, Missouri, back when the Biscayne Mall was in existence. And the Biscayne Mall had, I believe, a 3-screen theater. And I saw all of my showings of Clue at the Biscayne Mall with my grandma. And last night, I went back there. I was back at the Biscayne 3 with my grandma, sitting in the dark, and it was, again, just this enormous wave of emotion. I mean, I felt it. I felt it creep up, like rise from within me, and just overtake me. And which is exactly why I went. I got what I wanted. And it was like seeing the film for the first time. It really felt like that. I laughed hysterically. I've always laughed hysterically while watching Clue. Again, it had been such a while since I'd seen it. I had forgotten how intricate the wordplay is, and that it got me rolling. I was laughing hysterically for a while. I love the movie. I don't really know what else to say about it. But it's certainly in my Hall of Fame. I watch it again just to connect with a feeling and a time that has passed. And watching Clue takes me back there. So I love it. To me, it's a 10. It's something that I'll enjoy watching for the entirety of my life. So, what else can I say? So that was Clue. I've watched it countless times, and it's one of my favorite films of all time, and you should see it too. Thank you very much.